everyone, and welcome to today's video. I should have recorded so much today, but guess what I didn't do? Record a single thing. So here we are with a quick recap. I did a lot of Instagram scheduling today, making posts, making videos, scheduling them out, editing them, putting it all on, okay? I did a lot of that. And then afterwards, I have just been, I did some personal things, going grocery shopping so I don't starve kind of deals. And then I have come back here and I had a bunch of makeup bags to finish. This is my very first batch ever of makeup bags that I had finished. I'm so excited to say that because, they've just been this has been something that I've been wanting to do, and now I have a bunch of them that are done and I can sell. It just brings me a lot of joy. So I'm gonna show you them because they're all really cute. So here are my babies. They are so cute. I ran out of the lining fabric that I use on the inside, which I'll show you in a second. So that's why I only have one of these. And then I have three of these, but then two of this one. And that's because I ran out of cut pieces of batting, which I need to cut more. But here are the finished ones. And I don't have any of my apple fabric, but that's just because I didn't have enough apple fabric to start making exclusively this, because I wanted to make myself a little top. Okay, now that we've gone through the recap, here are all of the ones that I have made to sell. So to give you a quick view of what they look like on the front, they have my Lucky Star logo right here, which has been zigzag stitched into the actual makeup bag. I do this is actually the very last step that I do, so that I know that it's centered, because on some of my prototypes I centered them and then sewed it all together, and then this tag actually ends up really off-centered. So I do that very last. So that's what it looks like. I try to make them as flat as possible right here on the inside, but some of them do end up having a little bit of a bump. It's really not that big of a deal, but this one ended up really flat. I think it looks like a little stamp, honestly. But I try to put all of the zippers, they start out with the bag open so that all of the zipper tabs go on the left side of the bag, and then when they're zipped, they end up on the right side of the bag. That's every single one of them. So you'll see all the zipper pulls over on this side, and all of these zipper pulls I ordered from Wabash. They're long zipper pulls because I wanted it to be easy to be able to grab onto and pull. Since I don't have little pulley things on the side or something to essentially help you do that, I wanted the pull to be as long as possible. And this is the inside fabric. It's literally just an off-white cotton. Nothing special, but I just don't have any more of it. And then at the bottom, obviously, I have my stitch, because I do have to turn these all inside out, so I have to leave the lining open right here and then restitch it. So yeah, they're super spacious as well. Two of my prototypes will fit into one of these. These are going to be launched in person May 2nd at the Wabash First Friday, and then the very next day, Saturday, May 3rd, I'll be at Noblesville Farmers Market, which by the time that you see this video have already passed. But those will be the in-person events that these will go to first, and they'll be there for the rest of the time that I'm at these events. Hopefully I can keep up with making them, and then these will be online. The video cut off at the end, but it's gonna be May 31st, 2025 when I launch those on my website, so be looking out for those. Hello, it's the next day and I'm currently sewing my tablecloth, and I thought, hey, maybe I should record that, so here I am. Yeah, on the floor. This thing is so heavy, you would not believe. Especially trying to sew it on the sewing machine. This is obviously the most ideal angle for me to talk to you. It didn't take very long to sew. It's just heavy and there's so much fabric that putting it in my lap, it literally just fell off my lap. Or sewing it, putting it at the end of the table. At the very end, it just fell off. So now I'm done with that. About my tablecloth, because I know you're so intrigued. So this is a fabric that really reminded me of the Very Hungry Caterpillar, like that aesthetic where it kind of looks like paper mache or kind of watercolor aspect to the book. So I really love that, and I love that it had apples on it as well, and then it had some other like pears and other green apples on it. I love that. Okay, so I got this because of that. If you want to know where I got it, it's Joann's when they were dying. I don't even know what type of fabric this is, but then I got this Hobby Lobby fabric literally last year when I did my Angelic Ocean collection. I didn't sell anything from the collection, and so I had a bunch of this fabric left, and this is actually an outdoor fabric. So I serged the edges of this. As you can see, I serged the edges because I don't want this to fray. Since this is an outdoor fabric, I'm not going to serge the edges of this, but if they start to fray, then that's when I'll serge them. I just want to see how long that this will last. I know that obviously it's meant to be sewn into a pillow or something like that, or a cushion, so no raw edges would actually be seen. But I just want to see if I can leave it like this and call it a day without having to serge it. So I have another big tablecloth to do. I have to serge that one all around the edge of this, which is going to be hard because I have already sewn these two pieces together without thinking, oh, I should probably serge. So that's going to be real difficult to navigate, but I'm going to get her done. Get her done. I don't think I've ever shown my serger, but here it is, the Heavy Duty Singer Serger HD 0400S. Look at her, she's so cute. It's really easy to thread. When I was in school, the serger was definitely the boogeyman. And people had a really hard time threading the serger. I'm having a really hard time opening the little door. Oh, wait, give me a second. So here's what the inside of it looks like. People had a really hard time threading the serger when there's, you know, hundreds of thousands of videos online how to do that. And also, every single serger that I've ever seen gives you a little picture like this on how to thread it. So very cute, very slay. They're very easy to thread. Just because they have 4 doesn't mean it's scary. But this is essentially the twin to my sewing machine down here, which is also a Heavy Duty Singer. I got Heavy Duty Singers because I needed something that I could abuse. Also something that was gonna last and be quality. And I know some people might not agree with me on that point. Some people are really into their brother like sewing machines, or are really into their Janome, which I understand. If I didn't have Singers and I had the money for a Janome, your girl would be sewing on a Janome machine. This is actually false. My school used Janome machines and I hated them. And maybe it was just that specific Janome, but what I meant to say was Juki, okay? Juki, that Japanese freaking sewing machine. If I had the money for a Juki, I would be sewing on a Juki, not a Janome, girl. A Juki. Because, holy crap, that is, in my personal opinion, the best of the best. But these Heavy Duty Singers, they do the job. They work really well, and I can abuse them, and they can take it. Just got done serging the tablecloth, but I thought that I should explain what a serger is in case you don't know. So a serger is typically used in clothing, okay? So when you look at your clothing, you'll see serging lines, and they just look like this. Obviously, they look a little tighter, but they look something along the lines of this, or they look like this, like I have here on my tablecloth. And all a serger does is you can either use it to connect pieces of fabric. Most sergers, like mine, they have like a little knife on it. So when it's serging, it cuts off all the excess fabric. That's why I have like a little pouch underneath my serger to catch all of the excess fabric that's coming off. And then it's just locking in the edge so that it doesn't fray anymore. And you can, you know, essentially do a serger type thing without having a serger. Like, what are they called? They're called like interlock machines or something like that, where it does the serging but it doesn't cut anything off. Or you can just do it on your own sewing machine by essentially What I would do if I was doing like a fake serger stitch is essentially just sewing straight stitch all the way down, and then right beside that straight stitch, do a zigzag stitch, and it's not gonna fray. Like, it does the exact same thing. If you want the, you know, the fastness of not having to do something like that, then obviously get a serger, or you want it to cut off excess fabric at the same time, because it's not just like little bits like I'm cutting off. Like, you can cut off whole chunks, like huge chunks of fabric to essentially serge those pieces together. And then a serger too, if you really wanted to, you could serge everything together because it acts just like a sewing machine. You can put the knife down and it doesn't cut any excess fabric off. It just serges it. Especially if it's on the edge, like you can do that, but if it's like inwards in the fabric where there's going to be excess, no, you need to have the knife, because otherwise all that fabric is going to get clumped up in that serger and mess up your serging, and more than likely you'll have to rethread some of the stuff within the serger. But yeah, so a serger essentially cuts off fabric, cuts off excess fabric, and encapsulates your seams so that it doesn't fray. That's all it is. So I'm just gonna fold my tablecloth now. I'm really excited for the Wabash farmer's market, the Wabash First Friday, and then the Noblesville Farmers Market. I really did not think that I would get in to the Noblesville Farmers Market. That's why I have a little bit more of excitement towards that one. But I still have relatively the same amount of excitement towards the Wabash First Friday, because Wabash is my hometown. So it's very exciting to be able to, you know, sell stuff to my local community. And so I think that is so cool. But yeah, I'm just really excited for everything to come and where my business is going to go. Like during this summer and after this summer, I have like really big plans. But if you know me at all, which like if you know me in person, because from these YouTube videos, honestly, you can't get the full grasp of my personality. You can, but anyways, just to say, when anybody who knows me and like knows me deeply knows that I am the first person to think of an idea and then jump the gun so quickly to start that idea. I have a really like easy time starting things, but then continuing to do them and keeping up with that same momentum or any momentum at all is really hard for me. Like, I get really excited about new hobbies, and then after about a month, which normally I've heard that, you know, I'm still over here. After about like a month of doing something, it's like you've created a routine and then you'll just, you know, do it all the time. But that's not the case for me. I need like at least sometimes 3 months for me to get adjusted to doing something every single day. And you know, there's times where I can equate this to doing like my skincare, right? There's times where I go through phases where I am doing my skincare every single day, morning, night. And then there's other times where I'm just doing it in the morning, or I'm just doing it at night. And then there's other times that I'm not doing it at all, but I always go back to it. And so I feel like my hobbies are like that. But with business, you can't really do that. You have to like be on it and be doing it all the time. And I feel like I've been really proud of myself because I haven't lost like that spirit or momentum to do stuff for my business. But that's also, I feel like, in part to expanding it from not just being candles to also doing all this sewing stuff, because I love sewing, and sewing is also time consuming, while candle making really isn't. Like, I could take a week essentially, you know, some time in between, blah blah blah, but I have 7 current scents on rotation. After my summer launch, then I'll have 10, and then after the summer I'll exclude, I think, like 4 or 5 of them, maybe even 5 to 6 of them, revamp them, or get rid of them entirely because they're summer related, and then do fall, which I'm thinking of doing 6 to 7 fall scents. I don't know. I'm so excited about the fall. I'm not even gonna talk about that right now. Anyways, so with that, what I'm trying to say is I can do those 7 to 10 scents, and I could take a 1 week of just doing candle pouring, and I can have like essentially a lot of candles by the end of it, and they're all finished, they're all good to go. All they need to do is sit and cure for, you know, 2 weeks or however long I want to sit and cure them for, minimum a week, and then they're good to go, they're good to sell, they're good to burn, you know, that kind of thing. And so so after all of that's done, and you know, you go like hard doing all these candles, then I don't have anything else to do. There's no more content to create because all of the video footage that I've gotten, it's like I've used it already, or I can't, you know, sometimes I reuse footage, which a lot of creators do. You'll see that like on their pages, they reuse, and that's totally fine. But sometimes I can't find like another way to reuse something, or I feel like I need to record new content in order for me to get re-inspired by something. And so then the me posting on social media just ends because I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm not doing anything. All I'm doing is editing social media posts and trying to get my products into like small businesses and small stores. But you know, in the dead of winter, especially in Indiana, there is not that I've been able to find that is a reliable source. There's like no craft markets, no craft fairs, and maybe again, I'm saying that and I don't really know the actual truth, but from what I've looked at and what I've seen, it's like I can't find anything. So especially before all of the farmers market and the first Friday, it's like I was just dead. Like, I had made all of these candles and now I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs, not knowing what to do. So I started sewing again. And that was truly out of pure boredom. I was like, you know, I watch people like Monica from Monica's Collective, and I watch XO Charlie Haley from that, and I was like, you know what? I love sewing. I know how to sew. I went to school for sewing. It's always been a big gripe for me for some reason. Like, you know, there's been so many people that are like, I don't even use my college degree. Or there's also been so many people that have told me I'll never use my college degree, fashion design degree. I'll never use it. Like, why did I get that degree? Like, blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, I went to my fashion school, like my fashion program was in a business school. And so it's like, oh no, you went to a business college, you know, you went to college for business. It's like, no, let's keep it real. I went to the business college for 2 classes, and I went to my building for fashion for, I don't even know how many classes. Let's just say 15, 20 of them, like most of my stuff that wasn't gen ed. So let's be real, it wasn't a business degree. It technically is, but it was not, okay? It was not. What I'm trying to say is I'm really happy that I've gotten back into sewing, because just like, you know, doing my skincare or any other hobby that I have, sewing has definitely had its ebbs and flows for me, especially within the past year. Because before I started doing Lucky Star Collective full time, I was at a seamstress job where we did bridal gowns, and it was a lot of pressure to be perfect with every stitch, with every thought that goes into the gown. There was no time to make a mistake because every season is rush season and there is really no wait time in between. And it's, you know, bridal gowns that are $5,000. It's mother of the bride or mother of the groom or bridesmaids. It was always some big, fancy, expensive gown that we were working on, something that it needed to be perfect every single time. And honestly, that level of perfection with sewing, for me, takes a long time. Like, you know, if somebody could do something in an hour, I might take 2 or 3. And that's not because I don't know how to sew, and it's not because, you know, I am trying to still understand, like, what I'm trying to do, whatever. Yeah, no, it's not that. It's me being a perfectionist, and the slower I go, the more perfect it ends up. But in a job like that, where, you know, you essentially need to do X amount of dresses a day, and you need to get all the work done on the sheet, and you need to do that many dresses a day, it gets to a point where I was technically behind, and I was having a lot of health issues because I was so stressed out from this job, and my commute time was 3 hours a day, and by the time I get home, I would only have 2 hours to myself before I needed to go to bed. And that was really wearing on me. The driving was being at this really stressful job where my boss honestly wasn't the nicest to me. and the job in general just being a very high stress situation. And then my health, because I'm stressed, because I'm carrying all these weight of the stresses, because I'm constantly sitting down, I'm not moving, I'm not getting up, I have all this anger and anxiety within me, my body just starts going downhill fast. And it's, you know, it's something that I've been dealing with for the past couple of years. It hasn't been a lifelong thing, but, you know, when I was younger, like I would see people when they would get really stressed, sometimes they get really sick or they get hives, and I would never get that way. I would just get stressed, have a panic attack, and then, you know, go through the panic attack, have a lot of anxiety about it afterwards, but slowly figure it out. Now my body just collapses. It goes into immense pain where I'm constantly having stomach aches all the time. I'm on the toilet all day. I'm throwing up because I'm so stressed and because my body can't take any food. Then during those times, I have a lot of intolerances to things, and during those stressful periods, I gain more intolerances, or it's just stuff that I was once okay with, now I'm not. It's really not okay. And so that job taught me a lot about myself, and it also taught me a lot about work and work-life balance. Like, I never want to go through that again. I know that there will be a point, fingers crossed, that I will need to hire somebody for help, that I will need to have somebody to do all the admin work and all of the behind the scenes and essentially all of that, right? And then, or B, I'll need to have somebody to help me sew things and make candles. And then at that point, when I get to that point, I'll need to move into my own separate studio away from my house, because I don't want somebody coming to my house. That was the other thing about my sewing job, was that it was actually at my boss's house. It was upstairs. It was a whole completely separate room and separate from her house, but it was still I was going to her house, her personal residence, every day that she was running a business out of. And it was fine for what it was, but I cannot do what that was, where it was upstairs that the business was and downstairs was where her living space was. I can't do that. This is an apartment that is not my own, and so I can't just build something onto it, and I don't want somebody to feel uncomfortable because they're constantly they're literally in my space. They're everything, you know what I mean? So at that point, I'll have to move into a studio, which I'm so excited about. I want to do it now. But again, I'm the type of person to jump the gun, and this is a gun that I cannot jump because money. I cannot just spend all of my money and not have some sort of semblance of success. So, which right now I have no sort of semblance of success in my personal opinion. I make no money off of this consistently every month. I just do it because I love to do it, and I'm just hoping and anticipating that essentially these, going to this First Friday and going to the farmers markets, they're going to be successful for me, and I'm going to be able to make money. Because, essentially by October, which is when both of the events end, I will definitely have an evaluation of my life and of where I should go and what I need to do. Because if this isn't working and I won't be able to sustain myself, then I need to figure out something else, which is very heartbreaking. It will essentially turn into, at that point, when I'm assuming that I wouldn't stop it completely, it would turn into part-time instead of full-time, and then I would need to go get another job on top of that, which cuts into the time that, there is to do all this admin stuff, posting on social media, making all my products. But then again, I do have a lot of time where it's half and half. I'm doing all of that, and then I'm not doing anything, and I'm taking a break and I'm relaxing because me personally am not feeling very good. And that's really, truly the beauty of all of this for me personally, is that I can take a break when I need to take a break. My body physically hurts inside. I'm not having a good day mentally. Because of physical pain or because of other things, I can take a break, and I can then work that extra day on the weekend, or I can then work that extra day that I wasn't planning on doing it, or get up a little bit earlier every single day and get all the stuff done that I need to before, you know, essentially like that time frame that I've set for myself. But it's a lot about being self-motivated. It's a lot about pushing myself to keep coming up with new innovative things, to keep my brain active and to keep me interested, but not having too much where I can't manage it all myself. It's a balance that I've really needed to figure out, because I'm like, I want to do all of this, but I really only have time and energy to do this. So I need to prioritize what I think will work for me and what will work for my business. So just a little business talk, just a little me talk. Hello and good afternoon. Today, your girl is serging again, so I will not be recording much, but I did want to show you what I'm serging. In my last video, it was my last video, I showed you I'm making flower bags. So this is the beginnings of the flower bags. I need to serge all of the edges and then all of the edges of this. And to combat like taking like the time down on both of these, I'm just going to serge them together on the outer edges, but I need to individually serge all of these on the inner one, because otherwise I won't be able to get to it as easily once I serge these together. And I realized that I needed to serge them together after I serged this first one, so I went and cut out all of the pieces that I needed. So that is what I am doing today as of right now. Hello again. I'm on my iPad. I'm doing some stuff like normal, but I wanted to, I'm just gonna put my head right where that light is. I really wanted to revamp my labels. I literally just got these, so you know what I mean? Like, I literally just got these, and in a couple videos ago, I was talking about, or even the last video, whatever, I was talking about not wasting money on things you don't need. This is something I feel like I need, especially with the makeup bags and the new flower bags that I've been making. I definitely need branding on them. And my branding is Lucky Star Collective. And I've Googled it recently and I looked it up on Instagram. And honestly, it's kind of hard to find me. Like, you can't just Google like Lucky Star. And you can't just, because one, Lucky Star in the state of Indiana is an LLC by a construction company. Two, and somewhere in Nashville, or just somewhere in Tennessee in general. I don't know if it's Nashville. I think it is. But there is a vintage shop called the Lucky Star Vintage Collective or the Lucky Star Collective. I don't know, because there's two different Instagram pages. And so I don't know if one is like a boutique side of it and then the other one is the vintage side of it, or if they're the same thing. I'm kind of confused. But when you look it up, the shop comes up in Tennessee, and then their Instagrams come up now. I will say, if you scroll a little bit, at least for me, one of the first YouTube videos I saw, the only YouTube video on that first page was mine, because I do put Lucky Star Collective like right at the end of all of my videos. So if you look that up, my YouTube videos will come up. So one, I'm kind of concerned with my brand name now. And you should always look up your brand name beforehand. And I will say I did this, and the only thing that I ended up seeing was there was this person on Instagram who wanted to start some sort of like car something. I have no clue at this point. It was something to do with cars. You know what? Let me look it up right now, because it was something to do with cars, and it was just a concept. And so it was like, this is just for when I want to do this. That's what like the thing said. So when you look up luckystarcollective.shop, at least for me, I'm holding that name for myself if I want to change my Instagram handle. But when you look up Lucky Star Collective, okay, there's a full URL, like the full username on Instagram. When you look up Lucky Star Collective, and the one that comes up, it says in their description, it says high vibes goods plus accessories, and then it has their Etsy, and it has one photo of some phone cases that was posted in 2019, and that is the only photo on there. Okay, by the way, Lucky Star, as I've learned, is not something that's just like, you know, real not in the collective knowledge, because let's be real, there's a drag queen named Lucky Star. I just found another thing that was like Lucky with a bunch of Y's and a bunch of R's for the star. Somebody I know follows them. Literally tattoos. There's my shop, which is luckystarco.shop. There's my slime account that I just used to save luckystarco.shop, a new Instagram handle I might have. Where was the one I was talking about? Lucky Star Candle. Here's another thing. When was their last post? In January 2017. They have cool candles. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, when I looked this up, okay, there's also Lucky Star's Market that is in San Diego. So what I'm trying to say, just as like an overarching Lucky Star, just by looking it up, it's not something that is, you know, not in the collective mind right now as like a name. And also I need something to differentiate myself a little bit more, because of all of the other ones that do say Lucky Star Collective, blah, 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 you know, Lucky Star Co. So I want to get higher in search results. That's, you know, a good way, like a good reason why I make YouTube videos and stuff. Anyways, so I've been vamping my little tags, which I do love these. These are super cute, but I just want the word collective in there now. And a couple months ago, or a month or so ago, I ended up making this little drawing of an apple because I personally have been very connected to apples like the past year, and I have no clue why. Like what you're leaning on right now is a cookie jar that is shaped like an apple. Like all in, like I literally have like salt and pepper shakers. They're little apples. I have like, what is it called? I have like a little painting thing that somebody painted that I found at Goodwill. It's all apple trees. I haven't like apples. They're kind of everywhere for me. I have a print that I'm doing for some of my makeup bags. Guess what? It's apples. So I don't know why, but apples have just been that thing where I'm just like, wow, I really want to latch onto that because I just think that apples are so cool, and like the metaphysical reasoning behind apples and apple blossoms and apple trees. Growing up as a kid, I had apple trees in my yard, and I always loved going over to them and like smelling them and seeing all the little apples that would come off of them. Also had crab apples, which have a whole different meaning. Anyways, I have on my Instagram profile, my profile picture is of this drawing that I've done, and I just revamped it a little bit to make the collective, like the word collective, a little bit bigger because it is really small. So I made it a little bit bigger so that it would show up on tags better. So whenever I start to run out of these, hopefully I'll be able to get these. And this is what they look like. I really love it, especially with the blue gingham. I'm trying to incorporate all of my brand colors. I think the only brand color that I don't have in this like little thing right here is pink. I like a light pink. If you look over here, this is like my color palette essentially. So I have the blue. I normally do a cream color, but we'll count that as the white. There's the brown is right there, and the dark brown, and then the light brown. So the dark brown is the stem, and then the light brown is like the very tip of it. The yellow is the lettering. Then there's no pink, and then green, even though this is a light green, you can count the leaf as that. So I have all of my brand colors here except pink. I'm not going to try to force pink into it because it just doesn't make sense for this overall, like, overarching thing. But before, the word collective was just a little bit smaller where you couldn't read it, and now you can. So whenever I get more money for my business and start selling things and start being profitable enough to put money into my business bank account, that will be one of the things that I'm buying. Oh, also, I was talking about that slime account that I'm holding the name for, which is like funny. It still says, you know, Star Chaser Slime, whatever. Look, this sticker is for that slime that I never started, that I bought all the supplies for and then gave up on it very quickly. I could talk about that in a whole other video, but this is the sticker that I made, and this is what I mean by buying things that are just useless but that are fun. Like, it literally just says Star Chaser on it. It doesn't even say slime on it. It just says Star Chaser, so it's whatever. Hello and good afternoon. It is currently Monday and I'm in my bedroom right now, and I have just brought up a desk with my dad to permanently set up in my room, because I did have a desk in here, but it was the 4-foot folding table that I'm now going to be using for markets, so I needed a more permanent situation. So I now have my desk that my dad built me when I was a kid in my room now. So I'm cleaning it. So I'm gonna record the whole process of me cleaning it and setting it up. If you're wondering what I'm cleaning it with, it's a paper towel and vinegar. So this is an overview of my desk, showing it this way so I don't show you the photo of my significant other, but I just have like a little crocheted basket of a bunch of random stuff. Inside of here is like every business card I've ever collected, and also a hand cream. And then this is what holds my candle that I'm burning at my desk, just to keep it off of the wood. And also when it illuminates, it's a beautiful little butterfly. And then over here, I have my pen jar along with my tape, which I'm gonna put over here. And then I have my postage stamp, like this disposer thing. And guess what it is, people? It's an apple. Are you surprised? Yeah. And then a pad of paper. And obviously my little lamp. Oh, I also love butterflies, like personally, but that's not in my brand at all. But yeah, I love butterflies. I even have a tattoo of a butterfly. Love them a lot. And then underneath my desk is all this little shelving unit that just has a bunch of craft supplies in it. Hello, I'm recording on my iPad, so the quality is kind of bad, but today I'm finishing up my flower bags. So I'm just assembling the last strap on it. It has everything on them. This is what it looks like right now. So it has my little logo, it has the ties on it, and then it has the pouch. All I need to do is add the top strap and sew those on, and then I'll be done with these. I cut out 10 of them to do, but I ended up only being able to make 8 of them just because of like the ties and everything, and also my time constraint. I ended up not having a lot of motivation this week, to be honest, to I don't know, I think my motivation just really went out the window because last week I kind of pushed myself, and then I got a little bit of burnout, and then I went to visit with my boyfriend, and I just realized that I was just kind of overwhelmed by everything, and I really just needed to take a breather and a break. So that's what I've been doing, but it's not been on the good side, to say the least. It's been more of like a sad break. So I have just given myself a little grace, and I've said, you know what, I'm not gonna push myself to make more and more straps. I'm just, you know what, I have 8 done. I'm not gonna cut out, you know, a bunch more, do all the ironing, do all the sewing. Like, I'm just gonna go with what I have right now, and then the next time, guess what? I'll just make the more. It'll be okay. Like, it will be fine. And I think that I just have been in a little bit of a slump, but I'm definitely on the come up. I'm on the way out. But, you know, not everything in life, especially for me, because I can only talk about my own personal experiences, is gonna be like positive and fun, and I'm always gonna have like a good attitude. It's just sometimes it just hits me, and I don't know what it is, because one day I'm really happy and then the next day I'm like, woe is me. Maybe not woe is me, but like what is life kind of deal. And it's just, I think the person that I am, and also it doesn't matter what political things or what, you know, things are going on in the world outside of me. It's just who I am, but those things do play a factor into it. Also, the weather's just been kind of meh, and so today is Thursday, and tomorrow is my very first Friday in Wabash. So I'm hoping that'll go really good, and I've been like religiously checking the weather, and it's supposed to be okay. Like after today, it's currently like, you know, very windy and raining outside right now. After today, all of that is essentially supposed to go away for Friday. It's just going to be kind of cloudy and a little cold, which I'd rather that than there be rain, because rain really, really deters people when going outside and going to events like the ones that I'm about to do. So Saturday is supposed to be around the same thing as well. It's just supposed to be a little windy and slightly cold. But I'm not too worried about Noblesville per se, because it is Noblesville, Indiana. And I think I realized too, I'm just gonna talk about this like you don't know anything. Noblesville, Indiana is the county seat for Hamilton County in Indiana. Hamilton County is right outside of Indianapolis. It's like the suburbs of Indy, okay? And in the last 10 years, if you've ever heard about any place in Indiana that is outside of essentially like Lafayette, where Purdue is, Indy, where our state capital is, or Santa Claus, Indiana, where Holiday World is, or Fort Wayne, where, IPFW is up there, so Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, or anything like that, any of our major schools, because Indiana is such a big place for colleges, then more than likely you've heard of Carmel, Indiana. Carmel, Indiana, for as long as I've been alive and as long as my parents have been alive, and they're like, you know, in their 60s, Carmel has been the place where the rich people in Indiana live. It is where the millionaires go. It is where the basketball players for the Pacers live. It is the place to live. Carmel's been on the come up for years, right? And it's essentially gotten built out. And now the whole of Hamilton County is on the come up. And I've heard some statistics like Hamilton County is like the fastest growing county in the entire nation. And if not that, it, held that title for a couple of years, but it is definitely the fastest growing county in Indiana, and is the most prosperous and is the most wealthy. I am not even blinking an eye that, you know, I will make my sales goal, at least the first week. The second week I won't be there. I'll be visiting my brother in Pittsburgh for Mother's Day with my family. So that's missing out on sales. But when you think about it in the long run, I'd rather miss out on sales and visit my brother I don't get to see very often. And also just be with family, because family is more important than money. In any sort of the word, you know, people are more important than money. And people will not always be around to be there. Not saying that my parents or my brother is dying anytime soon. It's just better to spend time with the people that you love. Because that's what life is all about. It's about people and community and connection, at least in my opinion and what it is for me. So, so I'd rather miss out on money than not go and see my very beloved brother. So I am very excited for that. I think that's what's really been keeping me in high spirits too, because, I get a week off, but also during that whole week before I go and visit him, I'll be prepping for the week after. I'll be doing a lot of prep work next week, so I can get like super ahead so that I don't have to sew essentially in the middle of the week for the next, like, I would say at least the week afterwards. So I would want to have like 2 weeks of like, I'm just selling on Saturday. In the timeline of all of this, by the time that I come back and I will be able to sell at Noblesville Farmers Market, it will be the Peony Festival. And again, if you don't know, the Peony Festival is an Indiana State sponsored festival in Noblesville, Indiana, held at Seminary Park, which is essentially around like 2 or 3 blocks, I don't really know, away from the farmers market. But a lot of people do the farmers market to Peony Festival pipeline. So I will be there, and that is definitely what I am prepping for, to essentially have like 2 or 3 times the amount of stock that I would normally have at any given time. I got all of them pinned. This is what they look like. Ooh. This material is honestly, like, this canvas material is thinner than the brown canvas material that I was doing my prototype on. So I'm a little nervous for it, but I think that it will do completely fine. But I'm always just a little nervy for all of that. Anyways, just to say the least, I've just been a little down, and so recording me being in not the nicest looking state has not happened this week, because I have felt, you know, so down, and I don't feel like I look the best, and I don't really want to reflect or see that on the camera. Right now I feel totally fine, or I'm on the come up, so I feel a little bit better, not totally fine. But yeah, just want to keep it honest, keep it real. So the next video that you will see from me is definitely going to be a double hitter. It's going to be the Wabash First Friday, and then the Noblesville Farmers Market. So I will be deleting everything from my phone so I can get all the footage that I can, because I'm no longer going to be doing it on my little camera. I run out of video space so easily on there, even though it's a 64 gigabyte like little SD card. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm just gonna use my camera. It has better quality anyways, and I can just pick it up and like record myself, and it's all good. Hopefully I can get a camera in the future, but that is obviously for future me, when I have more money coming in through my business. So yeah, I hope you all stick around for the next video, and if you like this one, please remember to like and subscribe. It really does help me out and helps out just everything that I'm trying to accomplish. And I really appreciate that you being here and you watching this video. So I hope you all have a good day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!